You know what your intro music kind of reminds me of, like Queens of the Stone Age or Eagles of Death Metal? Yeah.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Cryptid Cocktail Party, a show where we have a few drinks, share a few laughs, take a dive into the unknown. I'm your host, Dave, and today I'm joined by new co-host, Sarge the Destroyer.
Hey!
What's going on,
Surprise!
buddy?
Here I am.
Yeah, you are.
Nothing much. I was drinking last night and eating expensive seafood in Boston.
Oh.
And just enjoying my city. And then... yeah, well, you know how it is. You're from a colonial city.
I am from I'm a descendant of a colonizer. Yes, that is true.
All right. Well, maybe we don't want to talk about that.
Well, I mean,
thankfully, my people.
If you live in New England, you are probably related to someone who landed here that wasn't supposed to be here. That's just fair to say.
Weirdly enough, luckily, I'm not. I am related to a guy who fought on the right side of the Civil War, so I'm proud of that.
Heyo.
Irish guy, came right to America, immediately joined up, fought in the U.S., the Union Navy. And then my dad's side of the family, they're all Norwegians. So, I mean, they did all their colonizing in Europe.
True.
No one cares about that.
Yeah, no. But I'm glad you're here, man. I think from
I'm glad to be here.
The show should be a lot more fun. I've had a couple duds as guests, and I think having a consistent person with me, it makes it easier for me and also the guest. It's more comfortable. You know what I mean?
Oh shit, the pressure's on.
Oh yeah, don't fuck this up, bud. But yeah,
I won't. I'll do my best.
I guess so. We might have to come up with a new intro or something like that. We'll figure that out later, or
we'll figure it out.
Yeah, but
in honor of today, I brought out Lego Bigfoot.
Oh shit, I didn't know they made. That's just Chewbacca. Come on.
No, it's Lego looking. I have 8 Lego Chewbaccas. Okay, Lego Bigfoot is special. He comes with a camera.
Now, why does he have the camera?
Because he's taking pictures of you.
Oh,
because to Lego Bigfoot, you're fucking weird.
I never thought. Okay, all right. That you said that, I never thought about what we seem like to like cryptids. It's like you ever seen the movie Tucker and Dale versus Evil? Yes. You know how they're trying to be the good guys, but everyone sees them as the bad guys. I wonder if that's what it's like for a Bigfoot or a Chupacabra. They're just trying to find their way home. They're just trying to get some berries out in the bush, and we're just like, what the fuck?
Exactly.
It's got to be something like that.
Chupacabra's like, hey man, I'm just trying to suck in a goat.
Yeah.
Why you gotta harsh my buzz? You let vampire bats do it.
I was gonna make a real crass statement, but I just had to hold back. I feel like.
There's so many ways you can go with that.
I was gonna say that's also most of the population of Louisiana, but then I held back. They're not trying to suck us, I promise. Oh, but anyways, you know what? Let's do something new today.
Let's get into it.
Let's do something new. I'm just gonna, just an icebreaker for the audience. Sarge, what's something that's made you smile today?
Oh, I went out to breakfast at this place called the 60s Diner. And they have these placemats with things from the 60s on it.
Is this one of those themed ones where it's like they try to fit the vibe of the era? All right, cool. Yeah, all right. Yeah,
and all the food is kind of from the era, but they play all 60s music, which I grew up, my dad was a big oldies fan, he's born in the 50s, so he really came of age in the late 60s, early 70s. So I always liked the oldies. So, they're playing oldies music, but then you've got these placemats and it's got one of them's got scenes from movies from the 1960s and one's got bands from the 1960s. And you got to pick, figure out what they all are. And then you scan a QR code and it tells you the answers. And I got all the bands right. I was very proud of that. I got most of the movies right. And then I saw the Cars one. And I'll be honest with you, I love cars to look at. But if you were to ask me anything about a car, I could tell you where the wheels are. And that's about it.
Dude, that tracks. My dad's big into cars, but my car is fucking right now. The battery, it just dies for no reason.
Oh, good. That's helpful.
All right. You ready to fucking dive into this, man? I was going to tell you something that made me smile, but I think this is it. I don't think I have.
No, what
else.
made you smile? No, we're sharing. I need to know.
All right, so real quick, I watch a lot of documentaries before I go to bed. Like I think on the last episode I was talking about how I have to have the TV on and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so I watch documentaries, and I started watching this one. It's like an archaeology series. It's like every episode they're just like digging up shit, and one was on this. One of them is on it's like Roman stuff, and you're on TikTok. You remember the whole like, what's your man's Roman Empire or whatever?
Yeah, exactly.
I literally, my wife asked me that one time. I was like, I've never once to this day on my day to day ever thought about the Roman Empire. That is the furthest.
I literally don't give it a moment's thought.
Not even a little bit. But last night I started watching like secret archaeology or whatever of the Roman Empire, and I'm sure I don't know if a lot of people know this, but they made it all the way to fucking Britain. They were like.
Yeah,
they were huge.
Oh, yeah.
And there's this wall that's like the furthest the Roman Empire ever got. And there's a huge wall that goes through like
it's like Hadrian's Wall, right?
Yeah, the British countryside, and it separated the Rome from like the Germanic states or whatever. Like, and there's this one, just the nerdiest white dude, and I have it muted, so I just have subtitles. So I don't know what he sounds like, but I imagine he sounds like every nerd you've ever met in your entire life. Yeah, and he was walking the wall. He's like. And here we have, sorry, it makes me laugh to think about. In the wall is a carved out penis. It's just a dick.
Not even surprised. Not even remotely surprised. Those people were fascinated with dicks.
Just a dick carved in the wall, and it wasn't like carved into it. Like they chipped around it, so it's like it's like out. Like it's like. Like so they didn't just like chisel like the outline of one, they like made like a full 3D dick on this wall, and the guy's like, and here we have a phallus. Now the phallus represents good luck and all this stuff, and he's going about how the phallus means like protection and good luck and all this stuff. And I was like, I know he believes that, but I just wanted to be like, dude, you're at a wall where it's just a bunch of dudes that are manned to this wall in the middle of fucking nowhere. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that this is just graffiti, and some guy was like, yo, I chiseled this dick into a wall. Check this shit out. Like, there's no.
Hey, Maximus, look what I did. Look what I did. There's a dick.
But dude, he was so. He's like, and he kept calling it a phallus. Like, come on, man. Like, we're all adults here. Just call it what it is. Someone carved a dick into a wall. You're making a bigger thing out of it than it has to be. And
yeah, it's just a dick in a wall.
To me, that just made me laugh so hard.
As a veteran, I can tell you, you go into any porta potty on a military installation, and there is a lot of good luck in there.
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like,
just everywhere.
Anywhere where there's a bunch of dudes, especially miles from civilization, they're gonna draw a dick on something. They're not gonna do that. That's
100% true. In Iraq, there was a fighter jet on this one base. I was on Al Asad Air Base for about 2 months near the end of my deployment, because that's where we were flying out of. We used to fly out of Kuwait, and they started flying people out of Al Asad. So on Al Asad, there's this old derelict fighter jet. And when you get up close to the fighter jet, you just see hundreds of dicks drawn with Sharpies on this Iraqi fighter jet.
I mean, that's pretty good.
And I was like, this is the most American thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is what American men do.
But now you know that it's actually Roman men
as
well.
Luck.
And it's good luck. It's for protection and safety and all this stuff. All right, Sarge, let's get back on topic. Now, I told you earlier this week that I had a good episode, and it's funny, it's goofy, it's going to be silly. I lied. So,
oh no. If this is like the baby eating monster, I'm out.
So in researching the fun goofy one, I stumbled across this, and it's a little darker, not as fun, but I think it's good.
Okay. All right. Well,
you seem bummed out.
I'll make the best of it.
It'll be fine.
I mean, no, I'll just make the best of it.
Yeah, it'll be fine. But also, you might learn something.
I'll find a way to make everyone laugh.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be fine. All right. So,
okay.
Many cultures around the world have some sort of like monster or beast, and it serves as sort of like a cautionary tale for children to not get close to like the water's edge unsupervised or something like that. I feel like most folkloric stories are just cautionary tales, kind of like urban legends, like Lover's Lane type shit. Like in Japan, you have the yokai that's known as the kappa. He's like a nightmare ninja turtle. He has 3 buttholes, I learned. And so
I love it.
It's because he gets real stinky and he tries to like either warn people off or just likes farting on people. I really don't know. But he's also been
so he's like a reptilian skunk.
Yeah, pretty much. He's been known to act in ways such as like looking up women's kimonos, like just like childish shit, all the way up to kidnapping children and drowning them, rape, and eating human flesh. So it's the dichotomy there. It's really weird. You also got the bunyip from Australia that makes its home in the swamps and creeks and water holes of southern Australia. They prowl the land at night to hunt for women and children. You also got things like sirens, kraken. There's a lot of like water cautionary tales out there. But there was one folklore creature that I found, like I said, in researching another one that I'm not going to tell you what I was researching because I'm going to save that for later. It's a good one.
Okay.
But this one's like way more wildly interesting, and that is the mermaid-like creature of Inuit folklore, the Qalupalik. Are you familiar?
No.
Hell yeah.
This is fascinating.
All right. So, Sarge, when you picture a mermaid, what do you see? Like the first image that comes to mind, what do you see when you picture a mermaid?
Well, it's like, the redheaded mermaid from Disney folklore.
Yeah, like did you say Disney folklore?
Ladies with seashell. A talking seagull, a talking crab, a talking fish.
Yeah.
A lady with seashell bra. A cartoon woman that I'm uncomfortably attracted to as a second grader.
Okay.
The normal uncomfortable Disney experience.
No, that's cool, man. That's now. All right. Here's what I want you to do. Picture like the exact opposite of that, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. So it's like Ursula, the sea witch. No, it's dude. Okay. All right. So the Qalupalik is not what we would describe as a fuckable half human, half fish mermaid. All right. Is not.
Is this closer to like the Fiji mermaid, the terrifying P.T. Barnum thing?
It's more like if you remember the old Greg sketch. It's more like if like the old Greg sketch was written by H.P. Lovecraft. So before I go into like too much detail right up top, I just want to say that when I cover these types of topics, and by that I mean like the folklore of indigenous peoples, I always want to say first and foremost that the Qalupalik is not a cryptid, and it is a very like real thing in their belief structure and system. And while I'm not an authority on native cultures, and I'm going to assume you're not as well,
absolutely
I always do my best to try and get everything as true as possible. And while we'll be cracking jokes and talking shit like this whole episode, I do try to cover it with the utmost respect. And if there's anything that I do get wrong or cover something that maybe us whites had appropriated in some way and I'm like pushing that instead, please let us know and we'll do our best to make any corrections along the way. So
yeah, I certainly don't want to like diminish or mock their culture.
No.
Unless it has 3 buttholes.
Dude.
If it's 3 buttholes, I mean, you're kind of asking for it.
So, I mean, I always try to give that little like disclaimer. Like I did it when we did the Wendigo, same thing with the Skinwalker. Like I am no authority and I try to get my sources from like
actual Inuit sources and native sources. Yeah.
Now, obviously that might not happen every time, but it is what it is. So like I said, if anyone has any
no, I'm glad you do it, because it would be worse if we just came steamrolling into this thing. We're like, look what these jackasses believe.
No, and I try to because like I had a big problem with the Skinwalker, the way it's portrayed by us whites, and I called out a lot of people in the episode that I did it on, so
they got real mad about it.
No, they didn't even acknowledge it. So it's whatever. So
okay. Even better.
You ready to dive in?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm ready.
All right. So the Qalupalik is a terrifying creature that lives and hunts in the freezing Arctic waters of Alaska and northern Canada. It's described as having long, dark, and tangled hair that kind of resembles seaweed. It's got fins that protrude from their heads, backs, and limbs with webbed feet and hands.
So it's like Glenn Danzig.
Yeah, pretty much. Minus the devil walk, though. And I don't think as jacked. I think they're a little thinner. And also, I'm pretty sure Henry Rollins would be cool with these guys because he's clearly not cool with fucking dancing. Their hands have very long and very sharp claws, which they use to capture and maul its prey. It smells like sulfur, and its skin is a pale green that is said to be scaly, bumpy, and sometimes slimy. Which, all right, so I don't know how anyone would know that, like the slimy part, because from what I've read and what we're about to cover, if you're close enough to have touched this thing and find out that its skin is slimy, you're dead, and it's
done. It's over.
That detail dies with you, and no one will ever find out about it. If that makes sense.
Well, I'm sure it's kind of one of those things where, like, you know, it's part of like just the descriptive factor of it to make it more intimidating. Like, I'm sure, because, you know, a lot of that is oral tradition, you know, being passed down. I feel I could be wrong. I muted myself.
I was saying you're getting ahead of yourself.
Oh, okay. I'm going to shut up then.
You know, I want you to be silent this whole episode till the very end.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. All right. But yeah, that detail.
I'll whisper.
The slimy detail that would die with you. I mean, I feel like you can look at something and see it's wet, but you won't know if it's slimy. There's a difference between wet and slimy, I feel like. Is that,
I disagree. I disagree.
Is that ignorant to say? I feel like you
no, disagree. I don't think it's ignorant to say, but like, if I like looking at Justin Bieber, I feel like he's slimy. Yeah, but like, I feel like there's a slickness to his skin.
No, but he's slimy in a way that is more his personality than his actual physical being. Like,
well, I mean, I feel like he probably smells like you know, that liquid in the bottom of an empty dumpster.
Okay, yeah.
It's like greenish and it smells like hot death. I feel like that's what Justin Bieber's skin feels like.
Okay. He's greasy.
Yeah. I feel like he's very slippery. Like you couldn't, it would be hard to arrest him because he would squirm out of it because he's just covered in lard.
Yeah. He's like,
but it's not lard. It's just, you know, disgusting smarm.
No, it's like at every state fair when they have like the, if you can wrangle this pig, you get the pig. But they grease up the pig.
He's a grease pig.
Yeah, exactly. So, but anyway, speaking of dying at the hands of a monster, according to the Inuit legends, you'll know when a Qalupalik is near because it lets out like a low ethereal like humming sound. And I couldn't find any examples of it because no one's ever recorded it, obviously. No, it's said that this hum is like a warning, kind of like a rattlesnake's rattle. And if you hear it, you and anybody else that's on the beach needs to fucking skedaddle like ASAP. Now, if you decide to ignore the warning, thinking you're a big, tough alpha male, fucking Andrew Tate listener kind of guy, that fucking, it's all I gotta say is it sucks to suck, man, because you will immediately be snatched by the Qalupalik's sharp as fuck claws and dragged into the water so quick that you won't even realize you're in the water until you're dead.
You know, honestly, I think if you're an authority on anything involving Andrew Tate, then I want you to ignore that warning and approach this creature full throated. Don't be afraid. Just go up and talk to it.
Whole hog. Just put your whole fucking chest into it. Just
I want you to encounter this thing and make friends. You know, offer it a handshake.
Well, I think so. What it is I think a lot of these. I mean, this might be speaking out of turn because I feel like these creatures probably don't have genders, but I'm going to assume that most of them, since they have long dark hair, they're probably of the female persuasion. So if you're an Andrew Tate listener, what you got to do is you got to assert your dominance, and you got to gaslight. You got to gaslight these creatures until they fall in love with you. Now, for the most part, most Inuit adults, they know better. They hear the hum, you better run. That's I don't know if that's their official motto, but I'm gonna say it is. Hear the hum, you better run.
If anyone listening to this is Inuit, please send us that in your native tongue, and I want to say it all the time.
But like I said, the adults know better, but it doesn't really matter because,
of course,
because adults aren't what the Qalupalik is after. Out of all the potential prey that visits the shores day in and day out, the preferred prey of this creature are children. Now, especially children who wander onto the shore alone, either from being just a complete fucking dum-dum or kids who intentionally ignore their parents, like words of warning, like don't go wandering off near the ocean. Now, one thing,
Madonna will try to adopt you.
Now, one thing that I forgot to mention in the description of the Qalupalik is, while it is a hideous monster that not even a blind mother could love, this fucker's got what the youth, I believe, still to this day would call drip. All right. It's decked out in what's known as elder duck clothing, which is kind of like or eider duck clothing. It's like the skin of the ducks. It's apparently a lot warmer than seal, which is wild.
Damn.
They also have an accessory. They accessorize the fit with what is known as a, and I didn't look up the pronunciation for this, but I believe it's amutik, which is essentially like a papoose type thing that the Inuit women wear to like securely carry their babies on their backs. Most tales of the Qalupalik say that once it gets a hold of a child, it just fucking tears them to shreds and eats them right then and there.
Oh God. This needs to be a horror movie. We need to fund some Inuits to make this horror movie.
Oh, I'm sure there has to be one by some white woman somewhere. That's already been
No. We got to get like the good people, like the people who know the story.
Make it real.
Not Diablo Cody.
I think you tried to murder me just then. Okay, so now, all right. Now other stories say that it'll snatch your kid, secure it in its amutik, and bring it to a hidden layer under the water's surface where it keeps the child in like a trance-like state. Now, while the victim is in this trance, the creature will drain the kid's life force, growing younger and stronger while the child slowly loses its energy until it's fully spent, which I'm pretty sure just means like it's like a nice way of saying it'll suck the life out of your child until it's dead. But
kind of reminds me of the monsters from Dr. Sleep. You know what I'm talking about? Did you see Dr. Sleep?
It's kind of that vibe.
Yeah. Okay.
But anyways, through this ritual, the Qalupalik can continuously regenerate itself and pretty much obtain immortality this way. So besides from like the description and what this thing is possibly doing to your kids once snatched, much isn't really known about like things like what do they do in the meantime when they're not murdering your childs, or like where they actually live. And this is possibly because the Inuit people were more concerned about what this thing was doing to their people than what's going on in the personal lives of like the Cronenberg version of Ariel.
We don't need like a huge backstory for the thing that's eating your kids. Yeah, that's fair.
But we also like just may not know about it because like with most native legends, information on things like the Qalupalik is hard to come by on the internet, or at least like agreed upon actual real information. And it's probably in the case of like the Skinwalker, like the Navajo don't like to talk about it with outsiders of their tribes or their cultures. Or like most Native American cultures, or even like First Nations in Canada, things like that, Inuit stories were mostly passed down through, like you said, oral tradition. And then when us whites came along and were like, hey, you need to stop all this nonsense. And then we did the whole like forced integration into American, European, whatever, Christian culture. So it's possible that part of it, if not most of these types of stories, were either like abandoned early on, like once we came over, and then they were just forgotten.
It kind of goes without saying that I fucking hate that we used to do that.
Yeah, it's not
like
good.
How many cool stories and cool cultures just got stamped out because some guy was like, no. My zombie messiah is way better than whatever you believe. Now drink this wine and eat some bread. Enjoy my cannibal cult.
So we did that. We did the forced integration thing. It was not cool.
It's bullshit
by any means. But the other explanation is probably, they always say that the most likely explanation is the most simple one, right? So the purpose of these stories about Qalupalik, the reason why they have them is to explain to children the dangers of wandering off alone or being reckless near the waters. One source that I read put it, there are indeed many dangers presented by the Arctic Ocean, including but not limited to hungry creatures such as like polar bears, shit like that.
Seals.
There's sharp rocks, sudden waves, and describing these dangers as a more fantastical and otherworldly creature likely helped to drive home the importance of caution when talking with the children. So fleshing out the story of the Qalupalik wasn't really necessary. Like the general description and short tales and warnings served like the purpose that it was meant to. Like they didn't have to like flesh it out to children because they don't give a fuck about backstory. So
little kids don't need that.
Yeah, so that might be why there isn't like a lot of like backstory, but also it could be because we just don't know. Like the Inuits who live in those areas and the tribes that believe in the Qalupalik, they might have a fully fleshed out story, but in the end, like really, you don't need it to convince children to like, you tell them like, hey, there's a monster in the water. Don't fucking go by the water. They'll more than likely listen to you because they're convinced as a fucking.
Yeah, they're not going anywhere near that shit.
Yeah. So, but anyways,
they're like, they don't care how it breathes.
Yeah. Like they don't need to know. They just know that they'll get snatched up, dragged to an underwater cave, and then their fucking life mana will be sucked out of them until they're dead.
And that's the best case scenario.
It's either that or
because the other option is getting shredded by the claws, right? I'm making pulled pork.
I'm gonna say I don't know which one is worse to me. I don't know which one I would want the least. I feel like I would want immediate, just get it over with. But also, if you're in a trance-like state, you don't realize that it's happening unless the trance-like state is like sleep paralysis, where you know what's happening, and you just feel it being.
That's
sucked.
Worse. I feel
like a Dorian Gray situation, but instead of like the painting getting older, it's just you like slowly becoming that one dude in the closet from The Ring, where you're like all fucked up. You know what I mean? Like,
hear me out. Right. So you've had blood drawn, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know how like you get that one phlebotomist
who can't find the vein, and you're fucking
using smart words. No, the one phlebotomist that like gets the vein perfect and misses in the nerves and all that stuff, so it doesn't feel like anything. But it's almost like you can feel the blood coming out of your arm into the needle.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
You ever felt that feeling?
Never felt that feeling.
And I know it's not a real thing. Like you can't actually feel the blood coming out, but your brain
it's like a psychosomatic thing.
Is noticing the. Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking when you mentioned the trance and their life force getting sucked out. Like these kids are probably not feeling pain, but it just in their minds they're like, "Oh my god, it's sucking the life out of me." Like
it's
they can
probably sleepy. You just get a little sleepier.
I don't know. It's still awful. It's still off. Don't go near the water, kids.
Either way, it's all bad. And I'm sorry if I bummed you out.
No, it didn't bum me out. I'm actually really fascinated by Native American and First Nation cultures. I think
we do a lot of like First Nation stuff on here, like Native American, because it's
so cool.
Because I feel like, well, the reason why I like to do episodes like this. Also, by the way, that's the end of the story. That's the end of the episode. But
this thing's amazing. It's terrifying to me.
But the reason why I like to do Native American folklore creatures, kind of stuff like that, is because they get lumped into the category of cryptid. And I feel like I'm no expert on cryptids by any means. I just enjoy the stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like it's important because a lot of like the spammier cryptid community, like they like to lump in things like the skinwalker, the wendigo, the Qalupalik, like things like that, and they lump them into the category of cryptid. And I feel like that is doing a disservice to the Native American community. I wouldn't say not disservice, but it's almost disrespectful, because to them it's not a unidentified creature, which is what cryptozoology is. Like to them, this shit's real. Like this is part of their belief system.
It's their culture.
Their day-to-day revolves around these types of creatures. Maybe not as much now, but even then there are still Navajo elders and Navajo people that believe in the skinwalker. There are still,
I mean, I'm sure there's Inuit tribes I shouldn't even say tribes because I don't know if that's a proper term, but I'm sure there's Inuit people that still have this as part of their culture, their belief system. And for sure, frankly, who am I to fucking judge? I don't spend time in the Arctic Circle. Maybe there is shit like that up there.
Fucking probably.
What I will say is like to build on your point, cryptids and cryptozoology at this point in our society is like a campy sideshow thing you find at like a state fair, right? And to take their culture and throw it in.
To me, cryptozoology it's just modern folklore. There's no because if I don't know if you noticed this, but most cryptozoology stories started roughly 1950s ish.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like before that, it was just Native American folklore and all. You know what I mean? Like,
but there's an air of fun to cryptozoology, whereas I feel like with these cultures, it should be more of like an air of reverence and respect to their belief system, because this is something they believed long before white people were here putting chupacabra on a hat. or a baseball jersey.
It's like the same thing with like I'm working on that, by the way.
Back last episode.
I'm
so ready.
It's like the puckwudgie. Like the puckwudgie, like I don't know if you ever dived into like the lore or like anything like that of the puckwudgie. But like
my other podcast, Citizens Guide to the Supernormal, coming back in May.
So the puckwudgie, I learned through doing research is that like the puckwudgies, they were thrown out by the giant god. They were thrown across all New England. They came back to Cape Cod. They killed the giant. All this stuff. I learned that all of those stories of the puckwudgies coming in, the puckwudgies getting thrown out, the puckwudgies coming back and killing the giant, they all coincide with different landings of European settlers. So that's So that's why the giant is dead, but the puckwudgies remained, is because I think vaguely like the puckwudgies were the American settlers. You know what I mean? Like their gods died so that we could be here. And so I like I said, I feel like it's important for me to put these stories out there so that like not only do they don't get lost. So, I mean, I'm a white dude. They're not going to get lost because of, you know what I mean? Like
right. No, but I know what you mean.
It's just like, I feel like people need to, if you're a fan of cryptids, you need to know where these stories come from and you need to know the backstory behind them. So that way you're just not going around posting a video of like, oh, my dog walked on its legs. It's clearly a fucking skinwalker. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
shit like
stop
that.
It. Right.
It's all bad.
Don't diminish their shit. We have plenty of white people shit we can diminish. We don't need to go after native stuff.
Yeah, we got leprechauns, we got fairies.
Yeah,
we're good. But anyway, so that's
also, stop going to Coachella with headdresses on, you fucking clowns.
Yeah, do they still do that? I thought that was done.
They still do that shit.
I hate it here.
That's annoying.
All right, so
but stop being white for like 5 minutes, America.
Like just a minute. Just take a breath. Just cool down. All right, so that's the story of the Qalupalik, Sarge.
I love that.
How you doing?
That was so awesome.
Feeling good? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's so, to me, it's like so like exciting to hear about stuff I've never heard of before. Mostly because my people stole it, you know, most people. So I'm like, yeah, we're finally giving it back. And then I'm like, I'm sorry, it wasn't really ours to take to begin with, but at least we now know about it. And I am not going anywhere near the water up north if I hear humming.
Yeah, that's definitely I'm not a big ocean guy anyways. Like it's too cold even in the summertime. Fuck that noise. Oh
my God, dude. You're preaching to the choir.
I'll hang out on a beach.
Oh, it's 90 degrees. Let's add some sand to that in a stinky smell if it's low tide.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
But then you're like, oh, it's 108 degrees. I'm going to take a dip in the ocean. But as soon as your foot hits it, it's -5 degree ocean water. And you're like, the dichotomy there is not working for me. It's like,
I went swimming in Texas, and then that made me understand why people like the beach.
Yeah,
because that water was nice and warm.
Yeah, I went swimming in the oceans of California one time, and I was like, I get it. This is nice. This is warm ocean water. And then you're in fucking you're on York Beach or Hampton Beach in New Hampshire, and you're like,
I know,
I got to avoid the needles to get to the actual ocean. And then you get in the ocean.
Oh, yeah, that's the other thing you've got a problem with, because you've got freezing, ridiculous cold ocean, right?
Yeah.
50 degrees no matter what time of year it is. But then also you have to walk across a minefield of sharp fucking rocks and shells to get there.
Yeah.
Because apparently in New England, we keep all of our granite on the beach.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not ideal.
You shouldn't need shoes to go swimming is what I'm trying to say.
At Hampton Beach, you kind of do, because there's just it's all just, it's like heroin addicts and shit. It's bad. All right. So anyway, Sarge.
Yeah, no, it's hypodermic needles and shells.
Sarge, I love you, buddy.
What's up?
We're coming to the
I love you too, man.
We're coming to the end of the episode.
I got overly excited about this one. I'm like a little kid right now. I can't wait to go tell my kids about this.
Well, no, so you don't tell them about this.
Hey guys.
You only tell them this when you're at an actual body of water. No matter what it is, lake, river. Be like, hey, by the way, don't get too close.
I'm gonna tell them now. So when beach weather comes around, they're like, no, let's go to the lake where it's actually warm.
Yeah. Go to No, you're good. All right. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. I appreciate it. If you want to follow us on any social media, it's Cryptid Cocktail on Instagram, Cryptid Cocktail Party on TikTok. If you want to follow Sarge, where can they find you on?
You can just Google Sarge the Destroyer and pick whatever social media pops up. There's Instagram. I'm on Twitter. I'm never calling it X. Fuck you, Elon Musk. YouTube, TikTok. I even have a Facebook page. I'll be honest with you. I don't really go on Facebook because I believe that vaccines work. So
yeah, I made one.
I don't really qualify.
I think I
did.
I think I had to make one for this show because Instagram automatically made me one or something like that.
Yeah.
And so it's there.
I cross post. So whatever's on Facebook is coming from my Instagram. So just go to my Instagram because Instagram, has reasonable people on it.
Not on Threads.
But yeah.
I posted on Threads once.
I'm on Threads because sometimes I need a long form complaint. It's kind of hard to do. And I need to say things that you can't say on TikTok or you get banned.
That's valid.
Yeah, so you can just Google Sarge the Destroyer. I'll pop up.
I feel like mostly it's at Sarge the Destroyer.
It's all at Sarge the Destroyer except for on Twitter. On there I'm at Bastard Prophet because that was my first big social.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna add you to the link tree. I'm just gonna put all those in the link tree. There you go. So
just throw me in there.
If you go to the Cryptid Cocktail Instagram, hit that link tree. You'll find all the social medias. We have a Patreon. It's $5 a month. You're not going to get anything, but it helps pay for we record remotely. Beer's not cheap.
It's expensive. It's expensive to keep this thing rolling.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, even fun stuff is expensive.
And then got Discord. It's whatever. Don't.
And if you're good at designing stuff, hit us up because we want to make some baseball jerseys for cryptids. I'm gonna wear that shit all the time.
Oh yeah. And all right, so with that out of the way, Sarge, you want to say goodbye to the audience?
Hey, I love you. Thank you for listening. And regardless of all the crazy, horrible things that are in the news, remember, you can still find fun stuff. And you should do that. Be as weird and fun as possible in your life because reality is terrifying.